Welcome everybody! Ulrich Behner and myself will give you insights what we see as a base for comprehensive optimization by the digital transformation in your factory. Could you imagine this situation? Maybe from your TV rack in your private home or from the cables under your desk in the office. Sure, each of these cables has its own purpose. For example, the well-known inch jack plug for connecting the headphones. This cable was developed exactly for this use case. But unfortunately, nowadays it's not possible to charge your battery of your mobile phone or further features you need nowadays. Maybe you are wondering now, okay, that's all clear in this case of hardware of these cables. But how does this apply to the case of the optimization in my factory, specifically for the manufacturing and intralogistics area? Well, we will try to explain this a little bit better in this case. Let's imagine three different situations in your production or in your company. First, there's a smart employee responsible for the efficiency on the shop floor. And now with the possibilities of Industry 4.0, he's searching for a solution to get more transparency. He wants to have the knowledge of the current line output, the current OEE or error statistics of the machines. All these KPIs on a fingertip on his mobile device. So he's searching, he finds a solution which fits perfectly to those requirements. A software solution optimized exactly for this use case. Perfect. And there is a second situation in parallel. A further person from the quality department. She needs help to avoid mistakes systematically. And she finds the answer with a special solution, another one, a special package for this use case. And last but not least, an expert from the area of the internal logistics. He is searching for the help with the plant internal material flow. Well, he received also a good hint from a colleague and found a tool which helps perfectly with that question. So, in these three cases, three different solutions. Every single fits perfectly to the need of the case of the user. Compared with the cables before, a cable perfectly for charging of your device, another for the sound of the headphones, and so on. So three cables in the use. Do you think that should be handleable? Let's see. There is an additional challenge which you should be aware before you take your decision of a new software system. Please think about your IT department, here visualized on the left. Software needs operation, maintenance, and you have interfaces to other software systems. What does this mean? For every single system from a provider, you will have different requirements. They run on different operating systems. The one needs Linux, the other one may be Windows. Or you have to provide third-party licenses, such as a database management system, for example. You always have to keep this in mind. And in all likelihood, you also need interfaces to your enterprise IT, such as SAP or other central applications to exchange information. And each solution comes normally implemented with its own master data, which must be edited several times by the admins. All this comes with a result of increase of the errors and higher expenses. And last but not least, there's also a hurdle for the users itself. There's usually an overlap of people using these multiple software packages. At the end of the day, one user must work with different systems and each with an own user portal with a different address or link, and each with its own concept for navigation and usage. And maybe, if not capable for a single sign-on, the IT department must provide several systems for authorization and authentication, and they have to log in several times to the same application. If you are in an international company with manufacturing sites all over the world, the challenge will increase. You can see this here on the map, on the next page. Let's go back to the first three scenarios previously mentioned. These three groups of people are looking for optimal solutions. Everyone in his local region or area. This means, for example, the operator from intralogistics is searching in Asia and will find a provider in Asia, and the colleague in Europe or America will find another provider here in Europe. So it could happen that you end up with a set of variants of solutions for the same use case within your company. And here in the map, marked with different colored bubbles, you can see the number of software is definitely increasing. And keep in mind, you can't compare results of each solution and transfer from a production site from A to B. It's always getting more complicated.
Yes, Tino, thank you. You now gave us a feeling of all those challenges, yeah, similar to what I described in the masterclass. But how should such a solution look like now in detail, which covers all this?
Well, we think it's necessary to have one system, which covers the functionality for specific use cases. And that the users receives the right information on the right time and in the right quality. And altogether, we have implemented this with the Nexeed Industrial Application System, which is on the next page, exactly. Nexeed Industrial Application System, or in short, Nexeed IAS. A modular software system which covers different perspectives on digital production and which could be applied to your flexible needs. From a small start to a complete overall production solution. Each of the modules are grouped in 5 areas of use, here colored with the blue and the green color to fulfill a consistent portfolio overall. Let's come from the left. Shop floor management, the blue one, covers all the functions you need to help to get transparency on the shop floor. And on the next one, in the area of product and quality, you will find all the answers to ensure the product quality itself in your production. Optimization of plant downtimes, everything covered with the third one, machine and equipment. And features for the in-house logistics grouped within the area of intralogistics. Further MES functionalities to manage production orders or to control the production flow itself will come next in the cluster of execution. And we also think of the IT administrator, colored here with the gray box on the left. Here we come with a set of common master data management with a single web portal or with a common user management. That sounds really good. Let's have a look on the principles of this system on the next page. How does this look like? Modular, expandable, sounds great, but how does this really work? This schematic illustration visualizes the principles of the Nexeed system itself. We offer the functional modules, here marked with the green color, all based on a stable operating base, with exactly those topics which I mentioned before. And each with interfaces, you can see this here on the top of each bubble, so-called application programming interfaces, or in short, these APIs. This allows other programs to exchange data with each other. And by design of this principle of Nexeed IAS, partners can extend own functional modules or further extensions based on these existing modules by themselves, here marked in the purple color. Those on the one hand, we have managed to develop a broad and comprehensive solution for different application purposes. And on the other hand, it has a structure so that only the required modules have to be used and it's still open for later extensions. And of course, this system is also available through partners or us directly in many countries worldwide where your production is located. So now let's move from theory to practice. Ulrich, you already told us in the masterclasses about Bosch platform BMLP. Could you show us whether and how does this now fulfilled with Nexeed IAS?
Tino, you have shown how the characteristics of the Nexeed IAS system is set up, what the architecture looks like, modular, APIs and these things. All of this I mentioned in the masterclass that this was required and is required by Bosch as well. I took exactly the same slide as half an hour ago. Nexeed IAS by this is the central base for this Bosch manufacturing and logistics platform, the BMLP. There is the connectivity layer at the bottom for the BMLP, or the BMLP parts you see on the left-hand side, and there is the BMLP platform core as well. The connectivity to the machines and to further software systems is realized by the connectivity layer. Requirements from various solutions that are required for the functionalities in common come in the BMLP platform core, which is also to be found in the operating base. And one example is the master data management for the example. At the top of the whole architecture, you see the Bosch United portal, and that is made by the Nexeed IAS web portal, and it offers a common user interface. And now you ask where are the functional interface, functional modules, the functional applications. You find them in the middle part. They are the green and blue colored boxes, like the colors that Tino has shown in the Nexeed IAS, but there are also others that you see at the right-hand side in the purple colors. Those within the Bosch manufacturing and logistics platform are provided by other entities at Bosch, but they can be integrated and can work with the same data using the APIs on the operating base.
Okay, so similar as we would like to do it with before mentioned.
Yeah, right. So then now let's have a look into some references of the usage of the Nexeed IAS in reality, first within Bosch. For example, there's one big requirement. Continuous optimization requires transparency, especially transparency if you want to optimize something. You need to know what it is about. Our division Powertrain Solutions has this requirement to have transparency for more than 550 lines in around 30 locations or even more. And thanks to the Nexeed IAS module Global Production Overview, they have that transparency. They get key production indicators, they get comprehensive reports, and that allows them to identify and transfer best practices in the international network, as Andreas has described it in the masterclass.
Okay.
And the second example I have is intralogistics. When it comes to intralogistics, you need efficiency and flexibility. Yeah? And it's efficiency, line must flow, material must flow. Flexibility, you need to react if you have different demands. And to increase both, the Bosch plans rely on the solutions from the Nexeed IAS. The stock management module, for example, provides maximum transparency of the current stock in the intelligent supermarket in the plant of Feuerbach, and the transport management application enables a pull-oriented milk run routing in Hamburg. And now, Tino, do you have also examples outside of Bosch?
Sure, let's have a look outside of Bosch. Less downtime, lower costs. This was also a requirement of one of our customers in his paint shop area. And with intelligent maintenance helped him to get a better planning for the filter exchange in his paint shop. And with condition monitoring from the Nexeed IAS, important parameters such as the temperature or pressure can be monitored centrally in real time. And thanks to the warning messages, maintenance staff now know at an early stage if when a filter is beginning to clog, yeah, and they can react before it's too late. Just one example outside of Bosch. And next to other customers, I also want to highlight a new feature. We integrated also artificial intelligence functionality directly into the Nexeed IAS modules, so to speak, as a built-in feature in every module. In this first example, this is currently in a pilot phase, we detect anomalies in the manufacturing process without any programming skills. So this could be visualized on the web portal, as well as actively send notifications to the operator in the shop floor. And we plan to integrate this great feature with our next release. So let's summarize. There are already software solutions available on the market which helps you and your company in the current challenges for digitalization of your factory. Definitely, let's check this. But keep an eye also on the overall story. First of all, think about the user. One common user interface with a continuous navigation concept, single sign-on, and so on, as mentioned before. Very important. And from the technical point of view, does this software solution have a modular approach to have the possibilities of a step-by-step introduction based on your requirements? Is it expandable by other functionalities? What about openness for extensions, either by yourself or by a partner? And last but not least, think also about the availability in all your locations worldwide. If you have this in mind, this should be a perfect base for a comprehensive and sustainable optimization by digital transformation. Thank you.
Now, let's see what are there as questions in the chat. So I see two questions at the beginning. So the first one is, how can I profit from BMLP if I am not a Bosch supplier? Tino, how can
yeah, that's easy. The BMLP is one example how a customer like Bosch is using Nexeed IIS, and you can also have the profit out of it if you just get Nexeed IIS directly. That's exactly the idea, and BMLP is just one reference. It's a big one. We are proud of this, but you can also have it directly from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think there was also a second question in the chat before. Oh, how will Nexeed developers further, and how will client requirements taken into account? Okay. Yeah, maybe I will also try to answer that. We receive feedback from the sales colleagues, such as Ulrich or the other colleagues. We receive that feedback. We have own ideas how to extend the portfolios. We bring them all together to the product management, talk about what could be integrated, in which time, prioritize them, and we definitely still increase our portfolio of the Nexeed IIS. That's still...
And what we offer is actually consulting and also getting into design thinking workshops and things like that to look for your requirements as customers. Yeah, and another question. What are your main USPs regarding Nexeed for external companies? So maybe I take that one.
Yeah.
Because it's reflected in kind of both of the presentations. It's a very broad portfolio, and it is comprehensive and consistent in itself. So the different pieces of the functionalities, the modules, are depending on each other, but you can also use them standalone, yeah, on the operating base. Both is possible. And with that comes, and it's also necessary to be able to do that the data is available for all those different applications and functional modules. And what we also can realize with our automation as well is that we have a vertical integration from the machine up through the algorithms, AI, and things like that, up to the cloud and to the portal for the users. Yeah? And that's maybe kind of the main USPs, and we use it within Bosch.
Definitely, yeah. And it's we use it at Bosch means we also have a long experience in that. It was not called Nexeed IIS before, but the functionalities is already approved within our own company, and that's definitely one further USP. Maybe one addition to this, the deployment of the software. Nexeed IIS currently is possible for deployment on-premise as well as in the cloud. Yeah? All existing modules have the possibility. In future, it would be a clear statement for one of these deployments, but up to now, all both deployments are possible.
So There's time for one other question. What are the challenges of interoperability between all the pieces of hardware and software and at every stage of the value chain and process, all provided by different suppliers? Yeah, so to make it short, the challenges of doing the integration and making interoperability happen. What would you say?
Yeah, it's important to have this, as mentioned several times, operating base, because with this operating base we have one additional module, and we call this machine connectivity. And it's important that a machine or device is not connected to every module by its own. We only connect it once to the operating base, and then you can have a configuration where to send the data, where to get back the data. So we have one common layer for everything.
Mm-hmm. And maybe I would add at the customer interface, customers and users should tell us early what solutions they already have, which one they like, what needs to be integrated, what needs to stay. What can we add, or should we bring you a base, an operating base, and what are your needs? And at the same time, we can start with a small piece and grow further, and there is no problem to actually integrate further modules, be them from our side or be them from other suppliers.
Maybe also an additional hint, if we talk about connectivity to the machine, sure, outside there are hundreds of different machine suppliers available. And we have two concepts. On the one hand side, we set up or we integrated the functionality of standards. So talking OPC, OPC UA, stuff like that. Having the open protocols and technologies directly integrated into Nexeed IS. And on the other hand, keeping it open. So if there's a special machinery and you need to connect exactly this protocol or this language of this machine, then we or you can implement your own translation, let's say it like this, a translation box that we also can integrate this machine directly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good.
Maybe there was another question in this other channel I saw before in this other channel. I saw it before. Where is it? Here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw also a question: how far has the Nexeed system got concerning artificial intelligence, IoT, and what is it to come? Okay, maybe answering for that question, I mentioned before in the examples, we strongly believe that, first of all, there are competencies available for artificial intelligence, and we think we should be a best data provider for this. So with the open interfaces, with the open APIs, as mentioned before, we can give that information to others. On the other hand, we strongly believe that some of the modules, they definitely need AI integrated directly in the modules. You don't want to have a special department or a special technology and so on. It should or could be integrated directly into the modules. And that's what we are currently doing, as the one example with the anomaly detection showed before, or a second topic with the transport management, as you mentioned before, with the milk run routines, that we also would like to implement AI integrated there. That's currently what we think of AI integration.
So I think, how much time do we have left? 1 minute. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there is another question. Are there modules, applications where Bosch is using off-the-shelf software instead of the in-house developed? So do you use software which is available for communities?
I think this question goes a little bit in the other direction. If Bosch itself, the others are using
Bosch is using
Bosch is using other one. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I could not answer that for the complete Bosch company. Definitely, yes, there are products and software solutions from the market. In the case of the manufacturing and intralogistics topics, we decided that we do this by ourselves.
Mm-hmm. But you mentioned in the presentation, for example, the ERP system. Definitely, we don't have our self-programmed one. We take a big one from the market available, and the IAS is able to connect and integrate to the ERP system.
Definitely, exactly. That's a good example where we definitely don't develop it by ourselves. We use it directly from the market.
So now we would say thank you very much for your good questions and for your attention. And
I'd say
thank you very much.
Goodbye and see you in the chat, hopefully.